Impeachment hearings continue. The city provides a refuge for the homeless, and one cat owner shows us to always have hope. This is OU Nightly.
A quid pro quo. As I testified previously, with regard to the requested White House call and the White House meeting, the answer is yes.
Hello, thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Kolby Terrell.
And I'm Libbey Dean. We begin tonight with day 4 of public impeachment hearings against President Trump.
Ambassador Gordon Sondland testified the White House wanted Ukraine to make a public statement announcing investigation against the Bidens in return for military aid.
OU Nightly's political reporter Taitum Wilson has details on nearly 7 hours of testimony. Taitum.
Not only did Ambassador Sondland confirm a quid pro quo, he also said that he and other top White House officials were acting at the express direction of the president.
Secretary Perry, Ambassador Volker, and I worked with Mr. Rudy Giuliani on Ukraine matters at the express direction of the President of the United States.
Sondland says Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, pressured Ukraine to investigate Burisma, a natural gas company Joe Biden's son Hunter Biden worked for. He also wanted an investigation into Ukrainian interference in the 2016 presidential election, though it was confirmed by special counsel Robert Mueller's report that it was actually the Russians. This all happening, Sondland says, with top officials' knowledge, including Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and former National Security Advisor John Bolton.
Everyone was in the loop. It was no secret.
Say these officials knew of the president's request for an investigation via an email sent out days before the now famous July 25th phone call between President Trump and Ukraine President Zelensky. But the most notable official Sondland ties to the Ukraine pressure campaign is Vice President Mike Pence. Sondland says he told Pence he was concerned that the delay of military aid to Ukraine could be tied to the investigations into the Bidens and the 2016 election. The vice president's office quickly responded, saying Pence never had a conversation with Sondland regarding investigations tied to military aid. And while Sondland says he and others inferred the president was behind requests for an investigation into the Bidens in return for financial aid, the president never explicitly spelled it out. Experts say this testimony will give Republicans a leg to stand on in defending the president. And now a live look at Capitol Hill. Today's hearings aren't over yet. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense Laura Cooper and the Undersecretary of State of Political Affairs David Hale are now testifying. Sondland is already on a flight back to Brussels. And tonight, the 5th Democratic presidential debate takes place in Atlanta. Libbey, Kolby, back to you.
Thank you, Taitum. The Oklahoma weather has pretty back and forth lately, and it's really cold.
It really has been. I actually left the house today without my rain jacket, and I'm starting to regret it. Nash Rhodes has more for us on the weather.
Yeah, that's right, guys. Things have cooled down just a little bit, and whether you were just walking to class today or maybe getting back from work, you probably felt a few sprinkles of rain, and that's really what much of the state is dealing with right now, especially the northern part of our state. Heavy rain bands developing near Enid, Oklahoma City, and also further down to the southwest, tracking some strong storms developing just south of Elk City, moving into the community of Hollis. We're keeping a close eye on that because some of these storms could be on the severe side later today. So coming up, I'll let you know where that severe weather is headed. Also, we've got cold temperatures. We have even cooler temperatures on the way. I'll let you know just how cold we will get coming right up, guys.
With winter weather moving in, the city of Norman is making plans to help keep the homeless warm.
OU Nightly's Nicole Nielsen joins us live with a new option for those in need.
As the weather is getting colder, the homeless community is being subject to more and more dangerous temperatures. That's why the city is proposing to turn the old library into a warming shelter for the rest of the season. For most, Sutton Park in Norman is just a nature trail. But if you've walked through it recently, you might have noticed sleeping bags and trash, all left over by some who have made it their home. It's during these colder months that the homeless population in Norman becomes more visible. It's a problem that April Heipel, the executive director at Norman Food and Shelter, says doesn't go unnoticed.
And Sutton Wilderness is one of the places that we see and we hear about a lot. You see a pop-up of camps around town and people start to kind of freak out a little bit because you're able to see homelessness again.
Norman locals have even posted on community Facebook pages images of the encampments at Sutton. That's why the city of Norman is opening its first ever warming shelter this season at the Old Central Library on Webster Avenue. Michelle Evans, the homeless coordinator for the city, believes this engagement strategy with the homeless is an opportunity to help.
A warming shelter is our opportunity to engage with the individuals who are living out there unsheltered, because again, that is our goal. We want to engage with the individual, get them into services, get housing, make sure they have the proper case management needs. So that is our way of addressing that.
The shelter, if approved by the City Council, will be the first qualified warming shelter in Norman, offering refuge for those trying to stay out of the cold. And though it's not permanent, Michelle says it offers a short-term solution for a long-term problem.
I don't want them coming into a warming shelter season after season. We want to get them housed. That's the ultimate goal.
Now this morning, I walked through Sutton Park myself, and all of those encampments have been cleared. The city is hoping that they will use the library as their new gathering place. Live in front of the old library, Nicole Nielsen, OU Nightly.
Thank you, Nicole. State Question 792 changed the landscape of alcohol and liquor across Oklahoma. OU Nightly's Zach Verdea shows us how it's affected local liquor store owners.
I had retired. This is my wife and our retirement job. We sunk our retirement money into this.
The owner of Captain Jack's Wine, Rum, and Spirits, Terry Sterling, sees his golden years turning sour.
But right now, this store here, yes, we're seeing about a 20% loss in wine and beer sales. And it's not that we're more expensive at all. I just can't compete with, like I said, you're in there already getting your groceries.
Leaving plenty of questions.
So the future's very uncertain for us. It truly is. It's uncertain for over 600 liquor stores across this state who felt that we've been sold out by our legislature.
It's been 1 year since the new law allowed grocery stores to start selling wine and 6-point beer, competing with local liquor stores. Sterling says this adds insult to injury.
Most consumers didn't know this created a monopoly.
The monopoly narrows options for owners.
If I wasn't getting good customer satisfaction with one of these companies, I didn't have to trade with them. Now I do.
While consumers may opt for the more convenient options like Walmart and other grocery stores, Sterling is hoping he can count on his faithful customers to stay afloat. Zach Verdea, OU Nightly.
You can visit Captain Jack's on 12th and Rock Creek.
A national hospital strike has one country in a major crisis.
Find out what doctors and nurses are demanding.
Plus, Nash Rhodes is here with an important update on the forecast.
Models.
A former fraternity member learns his fate after a judge hands down his punishment for deadly hazing. Sofia Olivas has that and other look at national headlines. From the News Center, Sofia.
Yeah, that brother was from Louisiana State University and is headed to jail for the hazing death of his fraternity brother, Max Groover. Matthew Nakeen faces a 5-year sentence for negligent homicide, but if he shows good behavior and is active in jail programs, he could serve less than a year. Groover's mother was not happy with that punishment.
In his statement, there's still no remorse. He does not take any accountability for killing our son. I think it was clearly obvious in what he said today.
Now it took jurors less than an hour to find Nakeen guilty. Now the area affected in North Dakota by an oil spill is almost 10 times larger than initially reported. This news comes about a month after the Keystone 1 pipeline leaked in nearly 400,000 gallons of oil. Initial reports estimated the affected area to be 2,500 square yards, but now they're saying it's 4.8 acres. And in Europe, the Netherlands is facing its first ever national hospital strike. Dozens of hospitals throughout the country are closed in an effort to increase pay and better working conditions. Nearly 100,000 staff members will refuse any non-emergency care. The Dutch Association of Hospitals has offered around 3% extra pay, but says that meeting all demands would cost those hospitals 950 million euros, or about $1 billion US dollars, excuse me. Now in London, Prince Andrew has decided to step back from public duties for this foreseeable future. This follows criticism over an interview about his relationship with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Kolby and Libbey, back to you.
Thanks, Sofia.
Climate change is affecting all of us, and you won't believe what some scientists have to say about it.
Speaking of climate, Nash Rhodes joins us with a look at what weather we can expect the rest of this week.
That's right, guys. Rain is creeping into the forecast. I'll let you know just how long it's here to stay coming right up. Welcome back to OU Nightly. Here's a live look at downtown Oklahoma City. Current temperature right now is a nice 65 degrees, but the big story is the rain that is really across our state right now. Notice the current temperatures. We have a nice dip here in Enid, Woodward, Elk City down into the lower 60s. Meanwhile, Ardmore and Idabel up at 70 degrees, and that's because these rain showers we're seeing here on radar are slowly moving over those areas, acting to kind of cool things down just a little bit. We're mainly focused, though, in the southwestern region of our state, as we do have some stronger storms moving through parts of Lawton, Frederick, even Hollis. The strongest storm right now is just exiting Hollis, slowly moving towards Hobart, so we're going to keep a very close eye on that because we do have an SPC risk out today. This is a 1 out of 5 marginal risk for damaging straight line winds and perhaps even some large hail with a few of these showers, but all of these areas shaded dark green, so we're going to pay very close attention to. Notice this light green color here in Oklahoma City and Norman. We are not out of the woodwork yet. We can expect some storms, just not very strong. These showers are going to slowly make their way into our neck of the woods by about 7 p.m. tonight, mainly remain just south of Oklahoma City and Norman, and as they continue further to the east, we're going to see those clouds stick with us into tomorrow morning as we get yet another line developed near Ardmore and McAllister, another band of really just some strong storms that will pop up, and we have yet another marginal risk mainly to the south along the Red River. So we're going to keep a close eye on that tomorrow, but working into Thursday afternoon, those showers become more widespread across the state. We even see a chance of snow up near the Panhandle, so don't get too excited here in central Oklahoma. I've got your precipitation type forecast. Best chances of snow will be up near Woodward and Guyman, and even at that, really just a trace amount of snow, but the best rain chances are going to be in Oklahoma City south into Ardmore. So a quick look at your forecast for the game. The good news is this weekend, most of this active weather is going to move out of our hair, making way for mostly clear skies at kickoff, low 50s in the afternoon into about 6 o'clock when we are expecting kickoff. So just something to keep in mind, winds will be at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, which could have a small impact on the game. Now let's look at that 7-day forecast. Temperatures will dip into the 40s moving into the weekend, but notice we're going to slowly climb up to about the 50s and even the 60s by the end of the week, guys.
Thank you, Nash. Whether it's the call to save the bees or to throw out plastic straws completely, people are taking a closer look into how their behavior impacts the environment. OU Nightly's Shiloh Sellers shows us what scientists are concerned about.
They're calling it the unnoticed apocalypse. Countries like Germany and Puerto Rico are reporting collapses in their bug populations. Scientists like research professor Michael Caspary, who studies these little guys, are saying on average 2.5% of the insect population is declining each year.
Certainly it's gotten a lot of attention, and a lot of the scientific community is perking up and trying to see to what extent this is true and how far we can extend these few studies to say something about what's happening on planet Earth.
At first glance, I think there are plenty of pests flying around, and most people would think the same thing.
To the species of insects, I think it's a big population of insects.
But research says differently. In fact, research tells us that 41% of insect species are endangered. The butterflies who fly around your garden or the little guys who pollinate our food crops are all facing extinction.
You don't have to be a huge bug lover to notice a monarch flying across your yard at this time of year, or to see or to hear the cicadas in September. It chokes me up a little bit because it is something that's so part of us, right? And they're small and they're kind of invisible.
So what can we do? Well, the UK Wildlife Trust says mowing your lawn less often, fighting the urge to pull weeds, and creating bug hotels with wood all can help when saving a life. A bug's life. Shiloh Sellers, OU Nightly.
In this time of year, fallen leaves actually help bugs and butterflies. So go ahead and resist the urge to rake.
OU football just came off a huge win at Baylor.
And they're looking to get another one at home this weekend. Kemper Ball is here for sports. Kemper.
Guys, the Sooners are looking to keep the momentum from that Baylor comeback rolling this week against TCU. And the Thunder had another close game in LA last night, which featured a few surprise guests. Don't go anywhere. Sports is coming up next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. It's time for sports. I'm Kemper Ball. The newest college football playoff rankings were released last night, and the Sooners are moving up a little bit. Coming off a win over an undefeated Baylor, Sooners fans may have been surprised to see OU move just one spot to number 9. OU has had its ups and downs, but they seem to have found a rhythm last weekend. The Sooners are coming off a historic comeback victory over Baylor that many still can't believe. After trailing 25 points in the first half, OU stormed back to score 28 unanswered and steal a win in Waco. Looking ahead to this week, Oklahoma is gearing up for a senior night matchup against TCU. As exciting as the comeback win was, head coach Lincoln Riley knows it will take a full 4-quarter effort to get past the Horned Frogs.
The momentum of winning a game like that is great, but it's not going to be enough to beat TCU. I mean, you got to go put it into action. And so the things that we did well as a team, the mentality of the team, you want that to continue and grow.
Sooner volleyball is on the road tonight in Manhattan, Kansas for a matchup against Kansas State. OU currently sits at 3rd in the Big 12 standings and is coming off a loss to Iowa State. Kansas State is on a 3-game losing streak against conference opponents, and the Sooners will be looking to keep that streak alive. Game time is scheduled for 6:30 this evening. The trailer for Netflix's Full Out 2 arrived on social media earlier this week. The film tells the story of OU's 2016 National Championship gymnastics team and features OU Nightly's very own Natalie Brown. Filming took place on OU's campus earlier this year and features some real OU gymnasts performing the stunts for their on-screen counterparts. Full Out 2 hits Netflix February 1st. And the Thunder concluded their West Coast road trip last night against Alex Caruso and the Lakers. OKC has played some of the top teams in the NBA close this year, and last night was no different. Danilo Gallinari continued his great season with 25 points, and Dennis Schroeder helped out with a season-high 31 off the bench. It came all the way down to the end, but a triple-double from LeBron and 34 points from Anthony Davis was enough to seal the win for the Lakers. The Thunder will get another crack at the Lakers this Friday night in Oklahoma City. And while the game was full of excitement, the show didn't stop at basketball. The iconic Laker girls had a few guests to their halftime show. That is late host and Cap star James Corden, and yes, legendary tight end Rob Gronkowski, all participating in the Lakers halftime show. Some Patriots fans remain hopeful that Gronk will return to the football field, but it looks like life after football suits him just fine.
He really is in mid-season form out
there.
He
looks good out there. He looks like he could still play, but looks like he's enjoying retirement.
I think he's happy in retirement.
I think he has better dance moves than me. Thank you, Kemper.
He might.
Can your feline travel thousands of miles away? Learn about an owner and his pet's journey. Coming up.
Welcome back. I'm Haley Weger at the OU Nightly Update Desk. Governor Stitt has made his second appointment to the Supreme Court of Oklahoma. Stitt appointed Dustin P. Rowe to the state Supreme Court today. Rowe will fill the vacancy created by former Justice Patrick Wyrick in District 2. Stitt says he is confident Rowe will serve with integrity. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Haley. An Oregon man's cat disappeared about 5 years ago.
But last night, he was reunited with his feline friend, Sasha. Sasha was found at an animal shelter in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Workers said the only reason Sasha was rescued was because he was microchipped. After the shelter saw Sasha was so far from home, American Airlines heard about the story and flew him out to his owner.
Thank you so much for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.